What's up, everybody? This is T for TeePolgar, and today is a lucky day for me because this happens to be the last day of the Anton's residency of couchsurfing base in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, and both of my guests are Anton and Anton, right?
Yes.
And today they are going to talk about high level of traveling, backpacking around the world. They are not beginners at all. They've been on the road for ages. First of all, Anton is going to share his experience on living in Iraq, because yes, you heard it right, he used to live in Iraq for how long?
4 years.
4 years, it's crazy.
From 2012 up to 2016.
Alright, was the situation already hot over there?
First it was okay, and the all problems with ISIS and all this kind of stuff started like 2 years ago. After I arrived, and I saw all the situation, not the war exactly, but how it developed, yes.
Makes sense. So what were you doing there?
I was studying and teaching, because I was in some Islamic institution, yes, and I came
Islamic institution within the Islamic religion.
Religion.
They had a school for teaching.
It's a religious school, but I can't call it university because it's a completely different system.
Okay,
but it's kind of university, with a different system. It's old style, old school, 500 years ago system. Right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it's kind of like this.
All right.
Yeah.
So first you studied there, but you didn't study throughout the whole 4 years, right?
What I did, I studied and taught for whole 4 years. I studied before in Iran for 2 years, but long time ago, and then get invited to Iraq, and I saw it like an opportunity to go there. So I studied there for 4 years. And this.
So you recognize this is a good opportunity moving to Iraq, and you grabbed it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I went to Iraq before, and I traveled there and met with interesting, good people, and they after invited me, and I thought about it for a few months, and then I decided to go.
Awesome. What were you doing there? You said that you were studying and
teaching.
What did you teach?
The same thing. Our system is different from standard university. You learn something after 1 or 2 years. You have to teach the same.
Practice.
Yeah, you have to practice with that if you want to. But if you want to develop develop yourself, you have to do this. Yeah, and I like to teach. So I'm good at teaching. So
Brilliant. But you're originally from Russia, right?
From Russia, yes.
Okay. And nowadays, do you live in Russia or you're on the road?
I live in Russia, but mostly now I'm on the road. I will be back in Russia just in maybe summer.
Right.
Yeah. So for
to eat some okroshka and borscht and then hit the road again or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Sorry, that's as far as my Russian culture knowledge goes.
Yeah, it's okay.
Anyways, so you said earlier that are you an imam?
Yeah, it's kind of like this. We prefer to call it sheikh. It's an Islamic scholar who teaches people and answer questions, like that.
You teach in a school atmosphere or more like gatherings in the mosque?
More
imagine that?
Both.
Okay.
Depends. When in Iraq we teach more school atmosphere. When in Moscow I mostly give lectures, so I'm mostly doing it online and something like that.
In internet, you teach.
Yeah, online.
Okay.
Online. No, in Moscow I give lectures offline too, but 1 a week maybe, because it's difficult to gather all people and.
Right.
Yeah, but
makes sense. And Anton, this question now to direct a little bit to you. You just had a presentation, a lecture on traveling around the world.
Yes, I make lectures in hundreds of cities, different Russian cities and in other cities. Yes, I speak to people how to travel, how to find a place for sleep without hotels, and how to find food, and how to live in the world, not in one place. Yes, I explain it. I make many hundreds of lectures in 200 cities in Russia and also in Kyrgyzstan, also in Tajikistan, also in many places. I make lecture.
Wherever you go, you devote some time and give a lecture to people so you can educate and motivate.
It depends of country. In some countries, people are ready to understand the idea of traveling. In some countries, like Afghanistan, they're not ready to understand. If I go to Kabul, when I visit Afghanistan, I may not make lectures here. They don't need my information. They need information in other type. How to make business, how to make pilgrimage, how to maybe religion science.
My information.
Maybe new information. Maybe they need new information, not mine.
Yes.
So when I travel, for example, to Italy, they need information, or they travel to Indonesia. Also, Indonesia have big traveling community. It is thousands of people who travel, who make some hitchhiking, also over to Europe, in Russia, everywhere. So in Indonesia, they need some information about traveling. In Kyrgyzstan, it is only in the beginning. All this Middle Asia, only in beginning of born this idea about traveling.
Is it because the middle class just started to exist here, or it's rather their Soviet and cultural mindset that they are still really buying to this family situation where the family says that stay here, don't explore, just
the people
dig a
in
hole
Asia,
in the
people in Asia is very depend from relatives, from villages, from elders, from grandfathers. People very depend here. In Tajikistan also, you must do what your parents do, what your grandfathers do, what your village do, what your clan do. You must do the same.
Same like Iraq.
So if you live in Kyrgyzstan, I live in Kyrgyzstan 2 times. I have been here 10 years ago. I live in the south, in Osh. Osh is a second city in Kyrgyzstan. When I make lectures in Osh, people is only some old peoples coming to my lecture. Old peoples because they
hoping they have food problems.
Because old peoples like to visit any different lecture. Yes, they come into any events. Depends.
They don't care what's the topic.
Yes. In Bishkek, idea of traveling, culture of traveling is just growing. In Tajikistan also it is just in beginning. But in Russia, yes, I make hundreds of lectures in many cities from Moscow to another in almost all region of Russia. In Russia, people ready. In Poland, Poland people is ready, and ever people, for example, in Serbia is ready. But people in Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, only beginning. I make growing this idea of traveling. It is growing, but slowly.
Slowly. I see. Gentlemen, right now I'm working on a project where I try to explain people how tradition and culture affects the mindset, how it pulls us back from evolving, our evolution, both on traveling, both on personal development. You've traveled shitloads, both of you. What do you think? Tradition and culture, is it good? Does it make a society better, or it pulls back people, keeps them down? Because you just talked about this, that in these Central Asian states, traveling and the habit of traveling is just about to evolve at the very beginning stage. And China is the same, because people are just so much affected by this family tradition, right? And the culture of sticking together, staying home. What do you think of tradition and culture based on what you've seen all over the world? Is it good for humanity? We should focus more towards the culture and tradition, or we should let those things go and focus on the now, on the future, where tradition has not much authority? What do you think on it?
We cannot solve all problems of all humanity. So people is too different. For many people, traditional ideas might be good, but not for all people. Some people want to change mind and do something new. If nobody makes something new, humanity all stop on the stone age. So it is, I think, for all people is different. Somebody can change mind of all population. Somebody change mind, and another people begin to also growing. But not everything for everybody. So we believe must be different peoples in Egypt, in Russia, in Kyrgyzstan. Yes, after 100 years we coming. Yes, all people still live traditional style. Some people live like in Moscow. People different, very different.
Anton,
Well, my
what's your
point
idea
of
on
view
this?
is all these traditions and all traditional stuff will be there. We can't avoid it.
We cannot erase them. It will
we
stay.
cannot erase it. And I think because from the evolution of human society, we developed their traditions. So at some point it was necessary to keep the society together. Well, of course, some traditions helping people even to develop, like,
but some traditions
pulling us back. Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
so there is no there is no one answer, like, is it good or bad? Like, there are good traditions, there are bad traditions, and we can't decide for all humanity. Of course, yeah, we can say, like in Kyrgyzstan, traditions sometimes stopping people from traveling, because you need to, like, study, go work, marry,
have
make
a wedding
more
ceremony
children.
for 4 fucking weeks.
Yes.
Just like, so,
Make more children. But if they're happy with it, why should I care?
But
like, I don't. Like, if they're happy, maybe they don't need to travel.
They are happy because
they don't know anything else.
They
right?
were never told by your story, by my story.
Yeah, that's true. So if traditions stopping people from getting more information and from, like, choosing what they want to do, it's bad. But if traditions saying people, like, for example, live healthy life, or actually take care of your children, or be responsible. It's okay. It's very good. It's very good. So, like, we need to focus on good traditions and try to avoid bad traditions. And it can't be done in 1 second. Like, it's not a surgery. You have to, like, educate people. Like, let's make a tradition, like, to have a good public education, for example.
Right.
So we need, like, we can't destroy the traditions. Destroying traditions will be, I think, the wrong decision.
100 years was attempted in Soviet time. They tried to destroy all traditions.
Didn't help. Didn't help. First of all, they tried to destroy tradition by developing their own new tradition. So it's like changing, like, one thing to another. Like, we need to, I think, learn how to use traditions in a good, proper way.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Anything to add, Anton? No? All good. Probably you both got this question a lot. First of all, is there any particular area in the world what you pay more attention to? Like, because to me, Central Asia is one of the top of my heart. I love backpacking here, but I've traveled other parts of the world as well. So, do you have any favorite region, not a country, but region? And if so, is it because of the culture, people, or food, or just because it's cheap, whatever?
No, because I travel a long time, so I travel.
How long have you been on the road?
26 years.
26
years I travel, 26 or 27 years. So, and now is about every year 10 months on the road. So I travel a lot in several countries. I also sometimes live. I come into some country to live here. I just tell you in which countries I live. Several months. I rent house and invite different guests, people coming to me. We talking, speaking with local peoples and foreigners who coming to this country. So I, for example, live in Kyrgyzstan 10 years ago, and now is 5 months. 10 years ago, I
You're
lived
here for
3
5 months now.
Yes, from May, June, July, August, September, 5 months. And before, I lived in Osh 10 years ago, 3 months in Osh. So I give 8 months to Kyrgyzstan. But I also have been before in transit in different travels, so maybe total is about 1 year in Kyrgyzstan. I also give about 3 months I live in Tajikistan, in Dushanbe. 3 months living in Dushanbe, rent house, live in Dushanbe, travel in mountains, it's beautiful areas. But I believe it is most hospitably republic or former Soviet Union is Tajikistan. But also not only live 3 months before, visit many times Tajikistan. However, during the civil war in 1990, before 20 years ago, is very interesting. I like Tajikistan. And I also live in different cities in Russia. I live in Moscow, in Irkutsk 4 months, in Krasnoyarsk 3 months, in Vladivostok, also in Arkhangelsk. And I also live in Indonesia. I spent in Indonesia total maybe 7 months in Indonesia.
Right.
It is a big country. It is 17,000 islands. So if you spend 1 day, one island, You 65 years travel. Indonesia is unlimited. I very like Indonesia, and Indonesian people is friendly people, good people, and some is interesting in traveling. So I make many lectures in Indonesia, and people coming when I live rent house. People coming to my house. Local people ever coming, Indonesian people. So also I like Madagascar. I live it here also, and will coming again to Madagascar. I very like Cairo, Egypt. I have been many times, but I'm not like touristic Egypt, like where is selling some souvenirs, some useless goods. I like real Egypt. It is very strange, but it is very funny. I like, and I also live it in Istanbul, in Mexico. I spent 3 months living in Mexico. I coming in this year again to Mexico to live here, and some in other countries. I like it. I live in different places and will continue in China also. China is beautiful, but it is more difficult because language is very strange. So I travel in China, live it in China about 3 months, but I will coming again, but language is very strange. And I also live in Russia and in other places of former Soviet Union. I will coming again to ASEAN also. Tajikistan, I will come again. I will like Tajikistan. I will coming again.
Right. Anton.
Well, I don't have any favorite places actually. Just it depends on the like period in my life. Yeah, like for now, like I want to go to Southeast Asia, for example. Like another year, I want to go another places. Like I don't have any favorite places.
Come to Indonesia. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I will go. I will go to Indonesia. Of course, I will. Yes, it's interesting.
It's very big.
But I need a lot of time. Like maybe 2 months at least.
Yeah, 2 months is just
at least like it's starting like for the beginning. Yeah, that's why. Like so, Indonesia maybe later.
Yeah, makes sense. Most of the people say that at least they claim that it's just a temporary thing, traveling on the road and living on the road. Because I've myself been on the road for 8 years. Here and there, I visit my parents and my hometown. Nevertheless, I spend most of my time on the road, and people keep telling me that it's just a temporary thing. You're going to get over it, and you're going to get serious at some point. Get a job, get a wife, get a fucking mortgage, a house, a car, all that shit. Yeah. Nevertheless, I think this is bullshit. You've been on the road for 26 years. How about you?
Like about 15. But
15 years.
With like some periods, like not always on the road. Like 4 years I lived in Iraq, I just studied and...
Yeah, but still it was an everyday experience.
Yeah, but... Like,
so, where was the threshold where you said and you realized that, okay, it's not just like, fuck the world. Actually, the road is where you belong to. The road is where you live. Not in a base, or did you have any point when you realized that, fuck, this is just not a hobby, this is my life?
I travel a long time, and about 20 years ago, I began to travel almost full time.
From day one?
Because it slowly begin to... When I begin to travel, I study in school, I need spend some time to visit sometimes school, but after visit university, after... not finish, I just studied 2 years and go out from university and be free. It is 1996 in the year 21 years ago. 21 years ago I began to travel a lot, and I also book writer. I write different books about countries, guidebooks for Russian people who want to travel, and traveling stories. I write my book, I publish my book, sell my book. So I began 21, 22 years ago, and I like my life now. And I also moved from Moscow to different cities to live here. It's good for me. Not for everybody, but for me it's good.
What about you?
I don't think even in this way, because like I don't know, there is a threshold. I don't know. Like maybe after 1 year I will, I don't know, get a full-time job and a house and a wife. That's possible.
You've been on the road for 15 years and now you still think that...
I had full-time job. I was married too, so it's all like been there, done that. Okay. So
it's not that you've earned, right?
Yeah.
Experienced that well.
So been there, done that. Okay. So it's all good. Like I wasn't unhappy. I was happy that time. I'm happy now. It depends what you on your current needs. Like if you want to be on road, be it. If you want to get married and full-time job, like and mortgage and all stuff, just go do it. Like you have to understand what you want to do. Like actually, like recipe for a happy life. It's not that kind of difficult. It's a little bit simple. Do what you want to do. don't do what you don't want to do, except when you really know why you're doing this, and it's worth it. So if you like, sometimes we have to do something we don't want to, but if it's worth it, like if you have some purpose to do this, do it. Like that. Think about it. It's not that kind of difficult. Like,
makes sense.
I know I'm simplifying things. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Most of the audience have never really experienced traveling on a level you and myself have been doing for years and years.
Yeah.
Would you suggest anything to them? Would you give them any advice? Why they should travel? Why they should try at least traveling? What does traveling bring you? Not the likes on Instagram or Facebook, not the stories, not just typing the blogs, but for a newcomer who just started to consider backpacking or traveling in the first place, what would be your advice to those people? Or would you give them any advice?
First advice to start, not waiting for 10 years, start in this year. In anything, not only in traveling, if you want to write book, if you want to change your job, if you want to go to another city, if you want something to do in your life, you must do it in this year, not waiting for nothing. Don't wait. It is first, don't wait. Second advice, not going in the first day around the world, traveling in 20 years. It is also strange. You must begin to receive information and begin from small traveling. Begin from 100 kilometers after 1,000 kilometers after around the world. Not today around the world.
The learning curve, right?
Yes. Yeah. And third, you must understand that time is money. If you have a lot of time, you not need money. If you have a lot of money, you not need time. If you have something, use it. Have money, spend money, no problem. If you have no money, spend time. It is number 3. Number 4, you understand that the world is rich. You have in the world everything. You food have in every place in the world, and place for stay and transport and information. But if we give the world anything, if we see hungry people, we give food. If we see somebody who needs sleep, we invite to our house. If we drive, we invite some people to our car, and we give good things to another people. If this is our investigation, if we increase good things in the world, we receive it in any village in Papua or in America. What we doing? So we must increase good things in the world. It is number 3 or 4. And also we must understand that we must change our mind every day. So if you want something, do it today, after tomorrow, and after maybe 1 month, after 1 year. If you go in one direction, you receive success. If you every day change intention, you have no success. So you must do what you really want. Understand what you really want and do it. And the last, you not need to travel if you not want. If you not want, so sit in your house, but do what you really want. Understand what, for which purpose I'm coming to this universe, what I want to do, and understand and do your own business, your own life. Everybody have his own life. So live up to you want and be happy. It is last advice. Maybe you have another advice.
No, I think it's all pretty good advices. I just want to say, like, don't think like if we travel and you don't, it doesn't make us better than you. Like, it's all really personal stuff. Like, if you don't want to, you don't need to. Maybe most of the people don't need to travel.
Somebody's meant to be an accountant, others meant to be a doctor, and
others
meant to be on the road all the time.
If you want to,
Right,
if you want to, you can travel. But you have to understand, like, traveling is not a kind of difficult. Like, it's actually pretty easy. It's not like, I don't know, like doing like serious sports or like science. It's not rocket science. You can just go and travel, especially if you're choosing like some easy places to travel, like Europe. It's not that kind of difficult. It's not. Don't look at us like a superhero. So we are simple people. It's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys, I have a question.
By the way, folks, do you remember him? He was in the previous episode, Taylor.
Yes.
I caught him in the main square of Bishkek, and he's the one who hooked me up with these folks for the interview because they said that they have real pure inside value to share, and as you could hear in the last 20 minutes, they do have inside value. By the way, brother, sit on that, please.
Word.
And if you have any questions, please shoot them. What might be interesting for the audience?
I have one question that's, how do you figure out what you want? Because I also totally agree, do what you want.
It's a good question.
I have trouble sometimes knowing what I want because I think I want this, but also I want this, but also I want this. But
Maybe you
what
want
do I
both.
actually want?
Maybe you do want
You
both.
maybe
Like,
do something, read and try something,
Yeah.
maybe. But it is very difficult.
Until you can experience and figure out if it's your highway and that's the highway you have to head full throttle.
Sometimes you can make some experience. Sometimes you must ask another clever people. Also, you see people who have success in some different ways of life. So you find another people and you try what you think maybe you want. Try something, one something, another. You must try and be happy.
Long story
and
short.
then it's okay
Don't worry,
to
be
want
happy.
different things. Like for me, for example, from my experience, I change like every 4 years. Like for example, and it's not like something I do
Like
on
personally
purpose.
or your direction.
My direction,
Have changed
and
that for
I don't do this on purpose. Like it's just an observation. Like for 4 years, I'm doing like interesting and it's very interesting for me, like software development. And for next 4 years, I'm doing like Islamic studies in Iraq. And then like I'm coming back, like traveling for a few years, like and it's all like
Completely
it's all okay.
different,
Like it's not, it doesn't make like that one was a bad for me. And this is good. No, it's always good for me. Like when you're trying to do something until like when you still want to do this, do it. If you don't want to, just leave it. Like I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult because like changing your job, for example, like when you build some career, changing to another direction, it might be difficult, but it's worth it to change it.
The punchline, guys, today's punchline is that whatever you do, it's going to worth it if you give 100% attention to that and not just like here and there fucking around a little bit. You may experience so you can figure out whether it's something for you or not, but at the end of the day, you cannot go half throttle. You gotta push the pedal to the metal, and that's how you can evolve. Because if you just like do it with shadow split attention, shadow split, which one is the word? Either.
Я не помню английский.
Yes.
Нормально.
Yes. Russian. Yes.
Никто
Mother
понимает
Russia.
по-английски.
Yes.
Так. Anyways, so the punchline is,
Split, I
guys,
guess. Split, I think.
Ah,
Split
yeah.
sounds right.
if it's traveling, accounting, being a doctor, being a mother, father, doesn't matter, you go all the way, because that's what is going to lead to happiness and complete fulfillment.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like making mistakes, it's okay. You will make mistakes. We do. Everyone does. So it's okay. Like if you made a mistake, just admit it and go like do another thing.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Just like
All like buzzwords and simplified stuff. We didn't teach him shit. Like it's like not helping. You know, it's like psychotherapists who say stop it. You know, like we're doing the same job.
Awesome. Guys, I really appreciate your time that you were here. I really hope, guys, you could pay close attention because it was pure value and really appreciate the teachings from these folks. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. See ya.
Again.
Taylor, yeah.
Guys, you remember, you with a little bit of me are shaping society. Bye.
Bye, guys.